The Graham Trucking Cup F1 Racing Final is presented by the Hyundai Genesis and is presented for Seafair by Graham Trucking, specializing in heavy intermodal container drayage throughout Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Montana.
Crowd.
Oh, this is a nice move by all of the F1 drivers as they are getting set for their championship race to come, as we see them trying to get one of the boats started, the number 24 boat. But meantime, all the other boats are now circling in front of the start-finish line and the grandstands, and they're waving to the fans. They're being introduced. After a great day of racing, they have one championship race left. And Bill, this is part of the tradition of your sport, F1, correct?
Yes, it is. We call it the driver introduction lap, and they usually go fast down one side and then slow down and open their canopies, wave to the crowd, because they really appreciate the spectators on shore staying and watching the race.
Now we're going into a 15-lap final. The rest of the heats have been 10 laps, so this is a bit of an endurance race compared to what we've done earlier this weekend. There's Jose Madonna struggled, but he's had one good heat. I think he can win. Terry Rinker, Mr. Consistent. Right now he's on the pole, correct, Bill?
Yes, he is. He's on the pole, and second place is Chris Fairchild, who's been right there in the hunt every heat.
And explain what the pole means one more time.
Pole will be on the left end or on this end of the dock, which will be the inside lane to the first turn. And he should have a shot at that first turn pin, unless somebody jumps him off the dock, which is a chance you take when you get on pole to get squeezed out, especially with this layout with the dock being 90 degrees to the straightaway. So basically there's not a lot of advantage other than having the inside lane on the start.
Now your son Tim Siebold is in this race. I have to believe you've been down there talking to him. He's had some great heats. He's had some really difficult heats. Bring us up to date on your son Tim Siebold.
Well, going through the heats, heat one, he had electrical switch get knocked off by somebody's rooster tail, and the water is pretty fierce in those rooster tails. Then he won heat two, heat threes and fours. He just was like in the middle of the pack. Heat five, he won. This morning, the motor just didn't run right.
What do you think is happening here, Bill? They've got the engine cowl off. We're literally within minutes of the 15-lap final. What do you think they could be working on there?
I don't know. Could be low batteries. A starter motor can be stuck. I don't know. It looks like he's got a starter motor in his hand. I think they're changing the starter motor, and what that can be caused by, we run 24 volts through a 12-volt starter motor to make it spin faster.
It doesn't like that, I bet.
It doesn't like that, and it has a tendency, if you try to do that with low batteries, the solenoid will fry and will weld itself shut.
Now wait a minute. If I take my outboard to the marina and say I need a new starter, I'll get it back in about a week. Can they really get a starter motor on that thing before this final heat?
There's only 4 bolts that hold it on and 1 wire. So yes, they can.
So, and they're standing in the water with the boat going up and down. Now, I say that somewhat joking, but if you've ever tried to twist a nut while a boat is going up and down, it's not easy.
No, it's not. It makes the job a little more difficult, but they should be able to do it. And we have a 5-minute rule. If a driver's in trouble and needs mechanically to do something to his boat, he has 5 minutes.
Now, Bill talked about a Nixon switch that got knocked off by the rooster tail. That's that switch right there. So what happens is, tell us why, first of all, there's an electrical switch outside of the boat, Bill.
That switch is put there purely for safety, because if the boat is upside down, all the electronics in the boat are hot. And if a diver goes down to try to get a driver out of the boat, he grabs in there and gets hold of the steering wheel to take it off, because in these boats you have to remove the steering wheel to get out. Okay? He will get shocked. That switch totally kills everything in the boat.
But we've seen it be kind of an Achilles heel, because Mike, was it the first heat or second heat, the rooster tail actually hit that switch and just killed the engine.
Yeah, it was Tim, and yes, it did. It did. And that's very unusual. It's very unusual for that to happen. That's actually a locked switch. You have to pull it out to shut it off. So it's an aircraft switch.
Now, will they hold this final heat until he gets that fixed, or is there a time limit where you're either there or you're not there?
5-minute rule. 5-minute rule. If all the boats get on the dock, they would hold a start for 5 minutes to allow him to get that finished.
So if we can, let's take a look now. We're watching them make the repairs on this boat, but meantime, while they do that, you've got all the other racers now are all lined up. There they are on that little pier here at Stan Sayers Pitch, right in front of the grandstands and the suites, and they're just about set to go racing. So we're hoping that their friend can get repaired and get into this final, which is, as you said, Chip, 15 laps of pretty much deck-to-deck racing, and the courtesy button is now turned off on this on the final, right?
Yes, it is. And it's unfortunate, too, because that's the only father-son team in the race. There's a father driving, and that is the father with the motor problem. The horn, the 1-minute horn just sounded, so we're under the starter's orders.
Okay, so the next thing we're going to see is that starter flag. We are now within 1 minute of the start. When you see that flag go up, we are within seconds of the start. The flagman's discretion whether he can drop it immediately or hold it.
And I have an opportunity here, so I'm going to do this for all of the fans who have been listening today and weren't sure, and those who are just joining us. It has been a pleasure to have Bill Siebold, the voice of Formula One racing, joining us here on the tower. Bill, I'm going to give it back to you and Chip for the 15-lap championship here at Seafair for what has been just terrific racing, the F1 Series.
Thank you, and the whole Formula One circuit loves being here.
Up on the top of your screen, you can see the flagman there. That flag's going to go up and it can come down anytime within 10 seconds, correct, Bill?
That's correct.
They're off.
Flags down, they're off.
And it looks like Terry Rinker, the pole position, the yellow boat on the left side of your screen, got off the dock well. When we've seen him do that in the past, he was gone. But it looks like 4 other boats are staying right with him.
Yes, they are. And there again, Steve Lee is right up in the front.
Steve Lee's been very impressive. Not a long history of racing and be up to, whoa, there's not a lot of room. Not a lot of room there. We're already seeing the courtesy button, as Steve called it, has been turned off. It's every man for himself. But there's Greg Foster, probably the most aggressive guy out there with the lead. Greg has been out of the boat for 2 years, but obviously he's missed nothing. Tight left-hand corner, coming up to a tight right-hand corner. There's the right. That'll go about another 150 yards to another left. And I think we're going to see a great race here because I think Terry Rinker in that yellow boat is going to have a shot. Boy, Terry just can't keep that boat in tight, Bill.
No, he cannot keep it in tight. That boat does not like a rough water turn. So it's Greg Foster in lead, Terry Rinker second, and Chris Fairchild third. I think Tim Siebold might have got around Fairchild for that third position, not quite sure. He had the inside lane, so it's a little tight racing out there.
Now remember, this is not a 5-lap final like the Unlimiteds. This is a 15-lap marathon, so there's a long ways to go. We're just completing lap 1. Imagine what it feels like to be in that boat. Look how little of that boat is in the water. Imagine, to me, Bill, it must be like, it looks more like skiing to me than boat racing. It's more feel than anything else.
Well, it's kind of like flying an airplane more than anything else, Chip. You're trying to fly the boat just above the water. And keep it off the water and keep it parallel with the air so you don't blow it over backwards.
Terry Rinker, now look at that again. Terry Rinker cannot keep that boat in tight. It's obviously he's got the speed. He can enter the corner tight, but when he comes out of the exit, he seems to go very wide.
Well, that's what we call skip out. And there, unfortunately, is Tim Siebold sitting in that straightaway.
You're looking at Greg Foster on the right side of your screen with the lead, and he's got Terry Rinker bleed. There's Tim Siebold. Boy, it's been feast or famine for Tim all weekend. He's either won or done what you're looking at right there.
Yes, that's true, and he's just had a really up and down weekend. Greg Foster coming through the chicane there into the left-hander. Terry Rinker in hot pursuit.
Now watch Terry. We're going to go around the right.
You got a good example of that right there.
Now watch Terry. He'll go inside, but watch when they exit this turn. It seems like Terry cannot hold it in. There, he's right next to the buoy, stays next to the next buoy. Whoop, he made a liar out of me. That was perfect.
Well, he did a good turn there, but again, he picked the inside lane and he had a smooth track. And when he came into the entrance to this left-hand turn over here in the cove, the boat actually skipped out on him.
Boy, if Greg Foster wins this, being gone for 2 years, I talked to him early in the weekend, he is so excited to just be back in a boat. I can't imagine how excited he is to be leading at this point.
Well, he is, and Greg just loves racing. He races off-road cars. He ski races. Greg will just race anything.
This is a 15-lap marathon or the lap 7 there. It looks like to me Rinker And also behind Rinker, we've got a white boat, the Kroger's boat, with Chris Fairchild, and he's putting a lot of pressure on Rinker. Rinker's putting a lot of pressure on Foster. So
Yes,
I think in about 2 more laps, we're going to have some very experienced drivers looking for the same piece of water.
Well, I think we are. Unfortunately, this course is stretched out a little, so there's a lot of top end. You need some boat speed, and you need the acceleration through the left and right hand here in the pit turn.
Greg Foster continues to lead, but look behind there, that white boat. That is Chris Fairchild, and he seems to be gaining on second place Terry Rinker. Greg Foster, there you go, that's Chris Fairchild, and he, to me, looks like he's got boat speed on Rinker, but getting up to the boat and getting past Terry Rinker are 2 entirely different problems, Bill.
That is always 2 different problems. It's sometimes easy to catch a guy and very, very difficult to get around him.
And how does a guy make it difficult to get around you?
Well, a lot of people know how to make their boat very wide. They look in their mirrors and they see on one side, they'll move out a little. Then look in the other mirror, move the other way. As we talked about before, Chip, the driver that's approaching the boat from the rear has to try to get in the blind spot in the rear view mirrors and then sneak around him on a fast move, duck inside or slide around, go to the outside.
That was lap traffic. I believe it just went around Ruben Asensio. Ruben is kind of my moral guy that I'm pulling for here. He's got MS, and he's doing this just for the love of it. But right now, you're looking at the leader, which is Greg Foster, and we've got a great race shaping up for second with Terry Rinker just hanging on, and it looks like Chris Fairchild in third is maybe falling back a little bit. But look at this. There's Fairchild in the back, Greg Foster out front, but Rinker now is in the shot every time. He wasn't in the shot every time before. That tells me he's getting closer and closer.
No, he is. He's up to the back of Greg Foster's rooster tail. He is closing on him slightly. I would say about a half a second a lap.
Looks to me like it's roughening up. Is that the wakes from these boats, or is that just the boats on the log boom or something?
No, I think that's just the wakes from these boats. They're just the tracks. The troughs keep moving in the inside of the course, and they keep the water churned up.
All right. We've got 4 to go.
We got Rinker pressing hard on Foster, and I think he has closed the gap some.
Remember, this is a 15-lap final, not a 10-lap final, a 15-lap final. And it looks like, okay, boy, now they're both in the shot all the time. So Terry Rinker is just going to keep working on him.
Look at that turn. He made some ground.
But there again, he went wide, Bill. What's going on?
He did. I think he went inside out on purpose that time. He was tight on the turn. He slipped through the rooster tail, went to the outside. So he's working Foster over into that blind spot again, trying to get Greg not to pay attention to the one particular side.
Terry Rinker and Greg Foster, I can't think of 2 tougher guys, not only in tunnel boat racing, but just in racing in general.
Greg Foster is as tough as they come. A few years ago, he was going over sand dunes on his four-wheeler and dropped 60 feet, broke both wrists, and the following weekend, he was in the race boat.
Sounds like a guy I remember some time ago, Bill Siebold used to do stuff like that.
Maybe when he was a little younger.
What's the worst injury you ever had, Bill?
Well, I was pretty lucky. I was over backwards 15 times, and most of those were not in safety cells, so I was really lucky to walk away from them. And barrel rolls, I lost count when I was a long time ago.
Well, it's an honor for me to be sitting next to you here, Bill. You've been an idol ever since I was a kid, so this is great. It's great to have Formula One in Seattle and Bill Siebold telling us what it's all about. There you go with the leader, Greg Foster. Terry Rinker was really breathing down his neck, but it seems like Greg Foster now has maybe stretched it out a fair amount.
I think he has stretched it out. That turn where Terry slipped wide might have hurt him some. I think he's working his way back up.
We've got 7 laps to go, as you see Greg Foster. So we're about halfway through this. This is a 15-lap final. Now these boats can run a lot longer than that.
Oh, see there was prime example, Chip. I don't know if you saw that. Terry dipped the sponson and almost barrel rolled it.
And what that allowed is Terry Rinker to gain a lot of ground, correct?
Oh, that was Terry that did that.
Oh, Terry, I'm sorry, I didn't see it.
That's why Greg Foster pulled back out on him again. By the way, Chip, that makes me feel a little old when you say I was your childhood idol.
That was my intention.
Oh, okay, thank you.
There you see Terry Rinker trying to chase down that man, Greg Foster. Greg looks like he's driving conservative now, like he's putting the bow down earlier and harder. It's kind of early to be conservative, isn't it, Bill, when you got Terry Rinker breathing down your neck?
Well, you know, probably for Seattle Seafair spectators, 15 laps is a long race. For these guys, it's a short race. So I don't think Greg's taking it too easy. He never does. I've never seen him take it easy. Terry just made up a bunch of time on him right there. But this right-hander is everybody's nemesis. And again, Terry slipped out a little on that right-hander.
And now they're having to deal with lap traffic. Looks like Greg, there's Terry Rinker. He's dealing with Greg Foster dealing with lap traffic there to his right. And Terry Rinker is going to have to deal with the same lap traffic. And I assume a boat that's being lapped, when he gets lapped once, he assumes there's somebody else coming right behind him as well, correct?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And the guys are pretty cautious, and they know when the leaders are coming by, they're going to hold their lane. And that's most important for the back markers to do, is when the leaders are approaching, hold your lane. In other words, don't go from 5 lanes out right next to the buoy.
Okay, that's well, for a second there, looked it's as close as we've seen them together. This part of the track here, this is a left-hander. But this is where Terry seems to gain some ground here, right there, and he seems to gain ground on this right-hander, but he just can't seem
He's been having problems with the right-hander right there. You saw the boat kind of pick up its right rear sponson and slip a little.
Yeah. So he's got the speed. There he goes. Nope, that was a pretty good turn. He's got the speed, but he just can't seem to get a good lap, consistent lap after lap after lap. Greg Foster, first off the dock, first to the first corner, and leading right now.
And again, that's what we talked about at that propeller rotation, Chip. The left-hand turns are ideal for these boats. They'll pull about 5 Gs in them because the propeller's turning left-hand and has a tendency to hold the back of the boat into the turn. Where on the right-hand turn, it's just the opposite. It's trying to walk the back of the boat around to the left and make you spin out.
Watch Greg Foster here with 4 laps to go, how close he's staying to the buoy. He's not giving any room for Rinker to jump in there at all. He's staying really tight to the buoys. Rinker has tried every play. Well, there was Rinker very close to the buoy, but just can't seem to hold it in there.
But you saw Terry on that time stay outside of Greg's trough. You can see him right there. He's running outside of Greg's trough. The trail behind the boat we call the trough. And if Terry stays outside of that, it seems like he can turn his boat harder.
It looks to me like Terry Rinker has tried anything and everything. He's tried inside, he's tried outside, he's tried to just kind of let the boat float. But so far, he just can't seem to narrow that gap and make it stick.
Yes, you're right, Chip. He has tried everything. He has been inside, outside. He's going back and forth through his rooster tail. You see it right there. There's a prime example. He was outside, now he's inside. Because now that'll put him inside coming into this left-hander.
And we've got 3 laps to go. Greg Foster's led right off the dock. So if Terry Rinker is going to do anything, he's only got 3 laps to do it. I was kind of surprised that Chris Fairchild, who is in a white boat right behind Terry, right there you saw Fairchild. I thought he would get up there, but he kind of got close and then he started fading again.
And how about Stephen Lee? A year and a half in the boat and he's running 4th place against these guys that grew up boat racing their whole lives.
Wow. Makes me want to get back in boat racing. If he can do it, maybe I can. Now I can.
No.
There's Terry Rinker. I really like the looks of those Lee crafts. They really look sleek, but that's not a brand new boat.
No, it's not. The boat that Terry's running is probably one of the last ones David Lee built, and that's about a 5-year-old hull.
And there you can see with 2 laps to go, you see Terry Rinker trying anything and everything he can
Lap
to get
traffic.
close. Lap traffic. They're lapping Ruben Asensio. He gets by fine. Now Terry Rinker's got to deal with Asensio. And it looks like he did that with no problem, but was not able to close the gap at all. Greg Foster, 2 years since he's been on a boat. He's even a ski racer. He's a ski racer, water ski racer. He's a motorcycle racer. He's a 4-wheel racer. The guy just seems like he'd race a shopping cart if he could get his hands on it.
Yes, he would. He is just, you're right, Chip. He will race anything, anywhere.
How old a guy is Greg?
I think Greg is about 51 or 52 years old.
Oh.
That's my closest guess.
Now remember, if you just...
I'm only 49.
Yeah, I know, Bill. White flag, 1 lap to go. So far, it's been all Greg Foster right off the dock. It looks like maybe one last shot from Rinker with lap traffic coming. Rinker's going to give it one last shot. If he can hold it in there, one lap to go. This is the white flag lap. He goes outside. He's going to do an outside in. He's probably counting on that lap traffic getting in the way of Foster, but that doesn't seem to happen.
No, I think Foster's got the speed to be on the inside lane at that first turn down there.
With a half a lap to go, it's Greg Foster, Terry Rinker in that yellow boat just coming up on this lap traffic. It looks to me like it's going to be Greg Foster, and oh my gosh, you are going to see one happy winner. He was so happy to be in a boat. He was so happy to be at Seafair. To win at Seafair, there it is. There's your winner. Greg Foster second, Terry Rinker, and Chris Fairchild, I believe, was third.
Well, great job on the call of the race. Congratulations to Greg Foster, this year's winner of F1 racing here at Seafair, and we hope to have many, many more. And when we come back, the big boys and the big boats for all the marbles. It's the championship of the Albert Lee Cup at Seafair in just a moment.
Oh, boy.
The Graham Trucking Cup F1 Racing Finals has been brought to you by the Hyundai Genesis.
And now for the awards for the finals of the F1 Prop Tour Series. Graham Trucking Cup, let's welcome the president of F1 Prop Tour Series and a driver of the boat number 21, Jose Mendana, to the stage. Jose, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Great show today, new to Seafair, not new to all around the country, and in fact all around the world. This is an international sport, but thank you for bringing it here. Did all of your drivers enjoy today?
Every single one of our team's drivers, crews enjoyed it. I mean, this is an absolutely awesome event. By far the best event we have in the United States. Not even close. Thank you, Seafair. Thank you, Beth Knox, Steve Spasari, Eric Corning, everybody who made this possible. It's so easy to work with everybody. Everybody here is wonderful. Weather was great, and we hope to be back next year. We hope the crowd and everybody else enjoyed the show as well.
They did, and they did at home as well. Jose, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jose Mendana, congratulations again. A terrific show. Up now is Rob Graham of Graham Trucking. He is the title sponsor, and he is presenting today's award for our F1 champion. And Rob, I hadn't seen these boats before. They are really a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I haven't seen much of them, and unfortunately, I didn't know too much about them. But they did a great job, and everybody in the hospitality was oohing and on. I have a quick story. It's quick, I promise. For years, many years, since my kids were real small, we've been over here in the hospitality. The kids have been sleeping in the motorhome overnight. They used to sneak around and spy on all the Seafair people and the volunteers. And so my kids grew up in this, and I have Seafair to thank for that. We have so many memories here, and Seafair is just, this is so awesome. It's so special to be a part of this.
And Seafair does not happen without Graham Trucking in so many ways. Your boat on the water, your sponsorship. And so let's bring to the stage, so Rob, you can make the presentation. The 2012 Graham Trucking Cup goes to Greg Foster. Congratulations, Greg. Come on up and receive your award. Rob, if you would.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Congratulations. You guys put on a great show.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
I second that, as do I think everybody out here, as does everyone here. The great show. We had no idea that the racing is that close, it's that much fun, and that you turn in different directions.
Well, normally we don't, but I love the left and rights here. They're just, it's a lot of fun to drive, and I love the course, love the whole place. It was an awesome time.
You'll come back next year?
Absolutely.
Greg, congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to thank Graham Trucking, Seaway Marine, MarineEngines.com, Fox Plumbing, and Greg Jacobson, the owner, and Ron Anderson, and the whole crew for getting me where we are.
Perfect. Greg, thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Congratulations, the winner of your F1 Cup for 2012 at Seafair.